politician once stated, "It is essential that we put an end to steroid abuse and set a better example for aspiring young athletes to follow, so that someday when they make an all-star game, it's because of a God-given natural talent and not steroids." Now, how many people in here can tell me exactly what a steroid is? Raise your hand. Exactly. What is it?
Performance enhancing drug.
No. That's a name for a steroid. A steroid is any group of hormones used to stimulate muscle and bone growth. Basically, it makes you strong. So if it takes you 6 months to get buff, it'll take you a month instead. Now, my proposition is that any professional athlete who uses steroids should not be allowed in his Hall of Fame, in any Hall of Fame, in this sport. Now, there are 3 types of steroids. There's the Certica steroids, which are creams and oils that you put on your body to deal with itches, rashes, and other things like that. There are estrogen steroids, which are for ladies to improve. Yeah. There are androgen steroids, which are the type that we'll be talking about, which are testosterone and other things like that, which will improve your bone growth and muscle growth and make you stronger. Evander Holyfield once stated, "Well, when I think of a steroid, I think of an image. You have the advantage over someone, which is cheating. It would be fair unless everyone can do it. The reason it's not legal is because it's bad." Now, let's take a look at Alex Rodriguez. In 1998, Alex Rodriguez joined the 40-40 Club, which is 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases in one season. This is pretty good. Very few have joined that. In 1998, from 1998 to 2003, he hit at least 40 home runs in every single year. But what's holding Alex back? He used steroids all those years. Every year he was doping on a regular basis. Now, Alex is just a story of many, though. Jason Giambi, Andy Pettitte, they've all used steroids, and they all might make it to the Hall of Fame anyway. Now, this is Carlton Levon. Carlton Levon won the Junior Olympics last year with a triple jump of 50.5 feet, a PIAA record that was held for 17 years by Chris Aiken. Carlton went to Methacton High School, where he was the best triple jumper in the nation and long jumper. Carlton accepted a scholarship this year to Michigan State University. Since accepting that scholarship, he has flunked out of school and tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. But Carlton's story is just one of many. This is a Rockland High School football player. Now, Rockland High School is in California, and their football program went 2-8. 2-8. But 4 players still use steroids. 4 players got caught using steroids, and 4 players are paying the price for using steroids. This just shows the strive that people need to win. 2-8, and these kids all just wanted to use steroids. Now here is Mike Moustakas. Mike Moustakas is the #1 MLB prospect at third base. Now let's go back to A-Rod. He certainly has the resume to make it to the Hall of Fame, but he used steroids, so why should he? And what kind of example does it show for Mike here? If Mike uses steroids, it might show that it's okay for him to use steroids because he can still make it to the Hall of Fame. He is a natural talent in baseball, and Alex could screw that up. Steroids have a severe and long-lasting effect on everybody, and people don't really know the side effects, but here are some of them. They can stunt height, masculinize women, alter sex characteristics of men, heart, liver, kidney failure, and strokes. And since they are usually injected, they can cause HIV and hepatitis. Now let me just show you a little bit of the power of what a steroid can do. Let me show you Greg Valentino. Now all you guys, does that look natural to you? Anybody, does that look natural?
Yeah.
And all you girls, does that look attractive? Because that is what a steroid does. Now Greg Valentino happens to have the world's biggest biceps at 28 inches around. 28 inches. Now that's just not natural. Greg for 28 years did not use steroids, but he couldn't get the record. So what did he do? He went 2 years on steroids. 2 years, and he got biceps like this. But Greg's story soon came down. After a while, Greg started getting careless. He started dropping needles, blowing them off, rubbing them off, and just putting them back in his arm. Eventually, he got an infection. Now, when you get an infection, you get a high fever, and your bicep blows up with pus. It looks like a giant zit. And that's what happened to Greg. Now, Greg tried to perform surgery on himself by taking a needle, sticking his arm, and sucking blood out of it. He put it in 2 glasses. He filled 2 12-ounce containers of blood from one bicep. But then, tragedy struck, and Greg was taken to the emergency room, where doctors had to perform a life-saving surgery for Greg. Look at that cut. The doctor literally took a knife and stabbed it into Greg's arm and cut it open, just to get this infection out of it. But Greg is just one of many bodybuilders. He's considered one of the kings of bodybuilding because of these arms. Look at that. This is the bicep that they cut, and that's the other one. You see the difference? This one's a little cut off, and that one's round. It just doesn't look right. This is Steve Mikulik. Steve is a legend in bodybuilding. Steve, let me just name you some of the titles he's won. Mr. Universe, Mr. USA, Muscleman USA, Mr. America, and 22 other titles. He did it mostly without steroids. But following a trip to England, he finally decided that he wanted to bulk up and use steroids. Now in England, the rules are different for steroids. In the US, you need a prescription to use steroids, and it's illegal to sell. But in England, you do not need a prescription to use steroids, and it's illegal still to sell. So you can get steroids basically anywhere in England. Steve is now 46 years old. At 46, he has had liver failure, a stroke, heart attack, and many other life-threatening stuff that have happened to him. He spent years in a psychiatric hospital trying to cope himself with what is happening to him. He's pretty buff though. Now Steve promotes bodybuilding without steroids, but he's still left with many harmful side effects. He's the testosterone level of a 12-year-old girl and testicles the size of peanuts. That is what a steroid is. It kills you and it ruins you. It destroys your body and rips your bones apart. Now, steroids don't only affect professionals and kids. My plan for you guys not to get caught in this is just to never use steroids. Never get involved with them, and if you see somebody using them, stay away and tell them to stop. Otherwise, you might look like Greg, who's thrown in jail for selling steroids and was spent 6 years there. Thank you.